What is up, YouTube? So today I'm going to show you how I analyze a property really quickly to make an offer for either wholesale or this is one of my investor clients, and just show you real quick how I go through, put out my scope of work, put out the comps, what I use for that, and then show you what the offer is and how all that works. Let's hit it. So yesterday I went over to this property and I took a lot of photos, and I always make a Google Drive link with all the photos, any videos of the property, so that I can go back when I'm in front of my computer and put all of that info in. So the next thing is I'm basically go through the first one. I always get a front photo, do an exterior view. So first thing you're gonna look at is the roof. This one, the roof is great. It's got a couple raised shingles. It's cost like 150 bucks just to get somebody to climb up there, knock those down and seal it up. Super cheap to do that. This one's got no gutters, so I popped in, gutter install here. And I actually used this, I was using a Google Sheet, like a spreadsheet, Excel or whatever. But I found that when I get down here and I'm doing a full report of all the comps and everything, it's easier just to be able to type in right here. So that's how I do that. And then I put them side by side, and as I go through the photos, all right, so here we're in the kitchen. Well, let me go back. So here we're in the kitchen, and you can see this one's got a weird layout. So the washer and dryer hookup is over here, and the dryer's right here, the fridge plug-in's right here, and then the range is right here. It's a really terrible setup. So we're gonna rearrange that, and I had that here, rearrange everything, and then what the cost, a rough cost is going to be for that. So that's how I do that. I want to make that as functional as possible. We're going to put the refrigerator right here. There's not even a plug right here. It looks like, oh, that'd be a perfect spot for a refrigerator. But anyway, so we're going to put the refrigerator here. Here we'll move this washer and dryer setup over here, and we'll put in stackables, so you can have the washer and dryer right there in the corner. It's a tight kitchen, but on these little rentals, that's about what you get. So then we're gonna come over here and we're gonna do the floors. So the next thing is, it's basically gonna cost about $4 grand. It's a pretty small house, but $4 grand to do the house. Then we've got some drywall repairs. You can see I'm just getting pictures of the windows. All the windows need to be replaced in this thing. That's the biggest ticket item. As you can see, we've got drywall repairs here in the paint. That'll be about 3,800 bucks for this house. Here's the upstairs bedrooms. As we're going through, it does have heat, but there's no central AC, so I'm going to talk about that in a second. Here's the upstairs bedrooms, so that's all there is to it. All right, we're back downstairs. Here is the bathroom. Going to rip it out, new toilet, new vanity. This, since it's going to be just a rental, you can actually put the glue on. You can rip that out and put a nice surround in, but in this neighborhood, it just doesn't really make sense to spend that much money on it. So that's what we're going to do there, or at least that's what I'm quoting for making this offer. There's the electrical panel. Everything looked good there. The other bedroom. So as you can see, you're going through, I took pictures of all the windows in each bedroom. So I went through, counted. I always count the windows. There were 13 windows in this, and it's going to cost about $7,500 to get windows in this thing. So that's something to be aware of with windows, is if there's odd shaped windows, you need to add more than what a standard window is going to cost, because sometimes you have to custom make them. It takes a long time, all that stuff. So windows right now have a big budget for windows. All right, so watch this funny video here. So this thing, boom, you can't even open the door under the stairs where the water heater is because of this light here. So that's pretty funny. Here is the water heater. Everything looks pretty good there. I mean, you could get an electrician in here to fix that, but it's electric water heater, it's fine. So you can see the windows are pretty bad, so those got to be replaced. Then I've got pressure washing here. As you can see, it needs up these windows. It looks like they had just, let me take whatever window I had and we'll pop that in there and put some plywood underneath it. So they did that. Everything looked good there. Check this out. So there's an old security camera screwed in. It's pretty funny. So back to the front of the landscaping, and I believe that there's another picture of the carport. Oh yeah, so backyard here, always check that. We had some standing water and stuff in the backyard, so gonna have to get landscaper out there with a skid steer to clean that up and scoop all that out. So be aware of stuff like that and don't miss that in your budget. So the carport's got A big hole right here. The roof was fixed, you know, within the last probably 10 years, so the roof's not bad, but need to fix that right there, and I factored that in as well. Now check this out. This was funny too. So that is basically it's just a lamp, and they screwed it on the outside like a floodlight.
I do what I want.
And it was hilarious. We got a good kick out of that. My electrician was with me. We were riding around, so it's pretty funny. All right, took more pictures. Here's this, the heat. It's got a furnace in there, but no central AC, so we're gonna factor that in. Yeah, here you go, right there, central AC. So basically just go through all the pictures and figure out your scope of work, and then go from there, add all that up. And this rehab came out about 35 grand of rehab, so because it's a pretty small house, and you don't have to replace the roof. If you had to do a roof, it'd be just above 40. So that kind of gives you an idea of what this stuff is costing. So the next thing is the comparable sales. Now with this one, so what I use a tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 comp, the way I do my comps. So tier 1 is like this thing is pretty much identical, same layout, same style of house within, you know, a half mile. Typically I like to see it even lower, closer than that in the same neighborhood. But for this example, there are no tier 1 comps because it's a little bit of an odd house. So all these are what I consider tier 2 comps, where they're pretty similar. They're at least the same siding, pretty close by, but not perfectly what that comparable would be. So we'll jump into those. So I list these out here. So basically this house is a 2-1 with a finished attic, pretty much, but you know, you can consider it, I could list it as a 4-1. First comp is on Summit Avenue. Now this is on the other side of Summit Avenue, and on this side of Summit, they sell for a lot less, a lot less. So this one was a very fixed up, nice flip, sold for 160. Here's a 3-2 on this side of Summit Avenue that sold. You can see the difference. Only 147, and it was a 3-2. It had two full baths as opposed to a 1.5. So you can see that over here, and it was much larger than our subject property. That's only like 950 to 1,000 square feet. So you can see that on this side of Summit Avenue, they sell for much less. This one did have an unfinished basement, so like I said, it's not a perfect comp, but this one sold for 130, and it was the closest one, you know, as far as the vinyl exterior. So based on that, with this being a 4-1, you know, you could, with it being that way, my judge of the ORV was a 125 in today's market, that it would sell for on the open market to an end buyer if it was nice and fixed up. Here is what I sent the seller. I was like, hey, I'll pay 54 grand for it, or we can list it, and there's the fee there of what I think you could get for it. It's very possible you could get a couple grand more, but with the condition it in, that's gonna be your best bet. So that's how I quickly make an offer. The numbers we're using are basically, you know, what's the RV times 0.8 or 0.75 minus the repair cost. That's what we're offering. So that is a quick rundown of how to quickly make an offer after you get good photos and judge a renovation. Hope this was helpful. Peace.